Hi guys, this is Shay, your youth leader here at Tree of Life Church. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday night as we wrap up our series on soul detox. The first lesson was on cultural toxins and things that are normal and cultural but not really okay for our spirit. And last week we talked about our toxic thoughts, thoughts that we have that kind of cloud up our spiritual process and our connection with God. And so we're going to wrap up tonight on our toxic fears. So when you think of fears, you probably think of, fears are something that you can kind of control. Like I have a fear of spiders. So I control that fear of spiders by not going anywhere near them. So anytime I see a spider or if there's one that needs to be killed, I say, hey, my husband, there's a spider in here. And he says, why don't you just kill it? And I say, well, no, I don't kill it because I'm afraid of spiders. So if I have a fear, I can avoid that spider. But we're going to talk tonight about some things that you really just can't control or avoid that are toxic for you to have in your life and be fearful of. So our number one, our first key point is going to be identify the areas in your life that you trust God the least. So when you think about, trusting God, some people are like, oh, I trust God with everything. I fully trust God, but, and they always put a but, not when it comes to my finances. Or I trust God, I give everything to God, but when it comes to, my job, I kind of, just deal with that. I don't really know about it, or I'm sketchy. So we all have our areas or our butts or places where we don't trust God as much as we do with other areas. So like I said, the key step number one is first identify what areas you trust God least in. And when it comes to our fears, they're going to be categorized into 4 different categories, and they kind of all intertwine or lead into some type of fear. But there's a fear of loss. So a loss can be in any form: loss of a family member, loved one, loss of a position, and loss of possessions, things like that. It could be a fear of the unknown, so not really knowing what your future will be or what tomorrow will look like for you. A fear of failure, fear that you're not going to succeed in band, you're going to get kicked out. Fear that you're going to fail your test and get held back a grade, or fear that you're just going to fail in life in general. And then lastly, there's a fear of just being rejected. So rejected by your peers, your classmates, or even certain family members rejecting you or who you are. So we're going to take a look at 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, and I'm turning their mobile device. And mine reads, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." So that is going to lead us to our second point, to acknowledge that God did not give us a spirit of fear. And that's literally what I just read. It said that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but instead we have power and we have a sound mind and love. So when you think of having a sound mind, you think of, peace, steadiness, things like that. When I think of a spirit of fear or something that's clogging my mind, I think of just, constantly going back and forth in circles, or just having these things running through your thoughts. I used to have a fear, and I've overcome it, of 18-wheelers. So anytime I was driving or in the car with somebody, I was just constantly, playing things in my mind, a crash about to happen. I was constantly playing in my mind somebody dying. I was constantly playing in my mind, going off the road. And I just was having these fearful just things going through my mind anytime I was driving near an 18-wheeler or something like that. And I just had to overcome that fear, what? An 18-wheeler is not gonna, literally drive me crazy and have me going in circles in my mind, and I have to overcome this. So that's going to lead us to our third point, which is to overcome your fears. And we're going to read out of 1 John 4 and verse 18. And I'm going to turn there via mobile device. And mine reads this: There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. But he who fears has not been made perfect in love. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Fear involves torment. When you think about torment, you think about those little devil demons, kind of clouding or torturing, like somebody being tortured in a chamber or something and punched, tell us who you're working for, and they just constantly do it and beat up the person. They torture them. And so that's, what fear does to your mind. It tortures your mind, it torments your mind into thinking, things that aren't true. And, lost scripture. But what casts out fear is perfect love. And so he who fears has not been made perfect in love. And because we're children of God and we have been made perfect in love, we have the power to cast out that fear and to overcome it. Like I said, I eventually was able to, through God, overcome my fears of 18-wheelers. And now when I drive, I'm not like, 18-wheeler, I need to move, I don't, sit up there and go crazy, because, I'm like, at the end of the day, God has me. He's going before me and order my steps. And I love my daddy God. He loves me. So that's what's going to cast out this fear, his love and the love we have for each other. And I know that, like I said, I'm able to overcome. So use that perfect love that you have from God to overcome any fears that you have. Like I said, it's not always a fear of spiders or, 18-wheelers like I was thinking about. It's sometimes dig deeper in your soul, because we're cleaning out our soul doing a detox. And look at those fears that you have that, hey, I'm going to fail in life. Hey, I don't know what I'm going to do in my life once I graduate high school. I'm going to be homeless. Hey, I'm going to lose, a loved one, somebody close to me. Hey, the fear that, my friends are going to reject me. I'm going to be a loser. Dig deeper and get in touch with those fears and give them to God, and just know that he loves you, and you have the power to overcome those fears with love and of a sound mind. So thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night. We hope to see you Sunday at our pizza party.